Welcome back. This is the Daily Brief. Like I'd mentioned to you, in line with the World Breastfeeding Week, a number of women's rights activists as well as non-governmental organizations have come together right here in Nairobi to discuss on programs that promote exclusive breastfeeding amongst lactating mothers. We shall be crossing over to one of the hotels right here in Nairobi where they've converged to discuss this and other programs and why this is of importance. They find it necessary, and they actually call for the establishment of lactating centers at the workplace, something that will be in line with the employers. We shall see some of the things they're agitating for include equipping the rooms with the necessary equipment to promote that, and review of maternity leave to enable mothers breastfeed exclusively. So we shall keep you up to speed on that. I understand that Gloria Milimu is actually following that particular story. In the meantime, we're also still trying to get a hold of Victor Lloyd on one of our top stories. He has been on the ground in Narok, of course, taking around the checking the process, the eviction process within the Mau forest. And the question, he says, that the people on the ground are asking, why is this particular exercise only targeting them, referring to themselves as the small fish, yet they're big individuals who are said to be owning huge pieces of land? And that is the question before we went on a break, Carl.
Yeah, you know, the way, if we say that, I mean, it's about now, let me use the word the poor, okay?
Yeah.
It's because they're the most vulnerable. And it's the easy target because they are the untouchables within the Mau. They have also encroached the water tower. But I think the common Mau...
Is this particular process selective? And I think that's basically what the people are suggesting here.
Yes and no, because if I say yes, it's because why is it that each and every given time when there is always evictions, it is the poor that is always suffering? I've never seen any time that now, I mean, the rich comes out to complain that also my part has also been reclaimed. So if it's about, actually getting back the entire Mau back to what it's supposed to be, then we don't need to care about who actually encroached the land. And it is high time, I think, we ask these people, when you came to Mau and you claim that you have a title deed, can you produce the title deed and also tell us whoever was sold for you the land, so that there will be a process of following these people up to the last minute, whereby we will get the real people who actually encroached this land before they could sell it to the people who are suffering today, so that there is a clear process. But you know, if we just go and hit, then you run, the next day you come back and you still show us those given title deeds. Who issued them with the title deeds, first of all, in a trust land? In the second place, how do we come up with what we call a cut line when already people are inside? You don't put a cut line when people are have already encroached, I mean, a place beyond your cut line. The cut line could have only served a sense when people were outside, but not when they're inside. So the process needs to be very clear. And I think this is why I'm talking about we cannot politicize this problem, I mean, this given a huge problem in this country in the name of we are seeking relevancy. No, we need to face the reality. And by the way, the Mau forest thing need to be settled once and for all, so that it cannot be a tool that can be used each and every time to blackmail, to always frustrate, to intimidate people each and every time.
The two questions are perhaps haunting government here, giving an alternative and, of course, the compensation question.
Yes.
Let's start with the compensation. Perhaps in a catch-22 situation where they're wondering, you know, these people are here illegally. Do they deserve to be compensated? There are also others who claim that, you know, they have title deeds.
For the compensation, first thing, I believe we cannot compensate people who have illegally encroached a water tower. That one, we need to forget about all mission. Second thing, for those who have the genuine title deeds, can they produce the people who sold for them that given trust land? And then from there now, we can get the real people, and by the way, those who sold them the land are the people to refund them back their money. Because it is not the Kenyan who are supposed to be paying them when they have already encroached our land. No, it's about those people who actually encroached the land and then sold to the innocent Kenyans who didn't know about all that. So they need to claim their money from the people who sold them the land.
Okay.
So the eviction orders from the government, I think this is not a process that they just wake up one day and they decided to do it.
Okay.
No.
Okay, I'll come back to you, Carl. There's a bit of reactions coming from Mombasa, where we understand the Court of Appeal has actually upheld the election of Mohammed Ali as the Member of Parliament for Nyali. Now, Mohammed Ali came into this particular seat as an independent candidate. He has over the time tried to portray himself as a person who speaks his mind within the National Assembly. Just the other day, you might recall during the vetting process of Ben Chumo, he went on ahead to refer to him as a corrupt individual, one who does not deserve that particular seat. And therefore, this is sort of a big win for Mohammed Ali, who has over the time claimed that there have been political forces within Mombasa County who are trying to take what he rightfully deserves and the right of the people of Nyali, in the sense that they voted him as their rightful member of parliament. Maybe Carl, if you can just see a quick comment about what we're reacting to right now.
Mohammed Ali, I think, first of all, I'll say congratulations to him, because now where he has reached, I think it's good. But they are one of those young and youthful leaders that are really doing very useless things within the parliament. Because today we didn't...
Useless or useful?
Useless.
Okay.
Useless. Mm-hmm. The youthful characters that actually went to the parliament, we expected that there is something that could have been taking place today. But if you see the characters and what we thought of them and what we believed in them, it's not what we are seeing today.
So in his position, perhaps, or rather, what are your expectations on him, for instance, as a young individual? And I believe he's a
look at these probes that have been taking place.
Yeah.
Each and every given time when there is any scandal, it is the youth who are suffering. Why did they come out as now the youthful members of parliament, and then they also give their voice out? But you cannot see that in them. All that, what we used to know about the Mohammed Ali, of a person who could do the investigative, one of the most, praised investigative journalist. Today you could not see that. Their work is nowadays to run around, praise people in each and every given funeral without getting back and serving the people who actually had a lot of trust and confidence in them to do what is right out of them. So today I think being there...
Perhaps the question, now that we're looking at collectively the young members of parliament, is it the fact that they've joined a system, maybe they went in there and found that things happen differently? What exactly could have brought about this laxity that you're claiming?
It seems like, when you get somewhere, if it doesn't go as a real person, or maybe their finances, or maybe whoever made them to be where they are, now today is now remote controlling them, so that they can't do exactly what is expected of them. But that is not to say that others are not doing. Maybe look at Sakaja. Sakaja is trying to do, he's doing well, he's trying. But the rest, really we need to pull up our socks as youth. Yeah.
And so who does the buck stop with in terms of, is there a gap for mentorship amongst the leadership of young people, or what should be done so that we ensure that, in the future, those who get such positions,
let them self-examine and then exactly know what are we to achieve and at what period of time.
Do you think this notion is perhaps what makes a section of youth believe that those who've been given these opportunities are making the youth actually lose them because there's lack of trust amongst those who've gained these opportunities?
That is why, now we can hit them, because we don't need them to actually destroy for the people who are coming. It is high time now they actually fix. The bolt and the nuts here now needs to be fixed. So in that, wherever there is any given vacancy, can they fix it and work on it with a lot of effectiveness and efficiency in it? But we cannot always be doing things the same way, old ways, same way, and it doesn't look like we have youthful characters within the parliament. So it is high time now they wake up and do the right things for their Kenyans.
Okay, we're reacting to the fact that the Court of Appeal has actually upheld the decision of the High Court, which had similarly also said that Mohammed Ali had been rightfully elected as a Member of Parliament for Nyali constituency. And this came in the midst of outcry from the Member of Parliament of what he described as powerful forces, including linking the area governor, that is Ali Hassan Joho, to what he described as his troubles and as to why, there had been appeals, and even him sort of losing his ODM party nomination seat. Do you remember back at the time in 2017? This led him to actually vie as an independent candidate. In fact, we can talk about that. How independent have those who went in as independent candidates been over the time? When
you get into the party politics, any party, these are cults, okay? Yeah, if you don't belong to that club, then you are no longer, you can't actually be part of it. So when he fought, actually got into the parliament through the independent, as an independent candidate, that could have actually made him now to realize that the word independent means what? That is the asset it is owning.
As compared to 2013, 2017 has the highest, I'm not sure of the figures, but has the highest numbers of independent candidates.
Sure.
And some had said it was the independent candidates who are going to move away from the norm, that those who belong to political parties have to serve their masters first.
Yeah, so the word independent actually could have actually now differentiated them from now the people who are sitting at the expense of their parties. Now, if really they could have taken the word independent to mean they're independent, today we could have been talking of so many people believing that it's not a must that you must always run to political parties for you to be elected. It is not a must for you to run to the political parties for you to give development to your people. It's not about political parties that can make you actually, to make your areas grow. But today, if they could have demonstrated clearly that our independence comes with the development and all that, then people will embrace it.
Mohammed Ali is now speaking, addressing the media, and of course some of his supporters are present at the Court of Appeal in Mombasa. Let's listen in.
Mengi yamezungumziwa, lakini kile ambacho tunafaa tukumbuke ya kwamba hakuna wakili bora zaidi ya Mwenyezi Mungu. Namshukuru wakili wangu kwa kusimama na mimi na kufuatilia kesi hii, na anasema asante sana pamoja na kikosi chake. Mungu awabariki. Na washukuru pia wananyali na Wakenya kwa jumla, wale wote waliokuwa pamoja na sisi kimaombi, kutupa motisha na kutuambia kwamba mambo yatakuwa sawa. Vile vile nataka niwajuze ndugu zangu ambao wameweza kunipeleka mahakamani mara mbili, ya kwamba mahakama zote zimeamua sasa, na huu ni wakati mwafaka wa wao kuja pamoja tufanye kazi kwa minajili ya Nyali na pwani nzima kwa jumla. Mombasa, kaunti ya Mombasa imekuwa na mambo mengi, na kila mara tukikaa kotini tunapoteza wasaa wa kushughulikia wananchi wa Mombasa. Kuna masuala ya SGR, kuna masuala ya CFS, kuna masuala ya bandari. Iwapo tutazidi kupigana, basi tutapoteza mwelekeo na watakaoumia ni wananchi wa Mombasa. Na wahimiza viongozi wote, gavana wa Mombasa, seneta, wabunge mbalimbali kutoka eneo bunge mbalimbali, ya kwamba siasa sasa zimefika mwisho. Nadhani wale walienda kotini wote wamemaliziwa kesi zao. Mimi ndio nilikuwa labda wa mwisho, na kesi imeisha, haki imetatuliwa kwa mujibu wa sheria za Kenya. Sasa ni tushikamane na tufanye kazi mpaka mwaka wa 2022 akipenda Mwenyezi Mungu. Kwa hao machache mimi nasema Mungu awabariki, na tuendelee kuchapa kazi sasa, mengine baadaye. Asanteni.
Mohammed Ali and his supporters, just moments after the Court of Appeal upheld the decision of the High Court to which actually said that he was rightfully elected as Member of Parliament of Nyali. And maybe you can react to his sentiments a bit, Carl. And I know we've not finished on independent candidates.
Yes,
but he says that it's time for focusing on development, especially in Mombasa County, where there has been an outcry of dilapidated institutions and, of course, the state of that particular city alone. Let's talk about that, politics versus development here.
Precisely, yes. Now, it's the verdict of the court. We have to respect it. So it is high time now the opponent joins hands with Mohammed Ali. Let them work to build Nyali. Let them work together and grow Nyali. You cannot grow Nyali when there is still divisive politics. It won't take you anywhere. So they need to join hands. Whatever you had in terms of your manifesto, bring it together. You people sit down and then now deliver for the people of Nyali. Yeah.
And of course, we're still following the reactions there. We'll show you those pictures shortly and keep you up to speed about perhaps whether the petitioners will decide to go to the Supreme Court. Mohammed Ali says all the courts have decided. He left out the Supreme Court. Yeah.
I think there is no need. There is no need. It's high time now they leave people of Nyali to move. Yeah, let them move forward. Let them do now the best of what.
Let's finish on independent candidates. And the question on that was Mohammed Ali amongst them was the fact that there was hope that they would take us away from the norm. Let's finish with that, Carl.
Yes, I think if you look at the words, the independent candidates.
What was the idea behind those who drafted the constitution when they brought this?
It was a clear way, actually, to demonstrate to the whole nation that leadership is not all about parties. I think that was the idea behind coming up with the independent candidates. So that in case whereby you can lose, or maybe in case you don't trust that you might have nominations to be done free and fair, you could decide just to go, run for the seat as an independent candidate, whereby you are not actually aligned to any given political party. And again, it was a way of also, putting it clear that you can be an independent candidate and still develop your constituency, your ward, your county, irrespective of any political party. Because if you look at the CDF, whether you are an independent candidate or not, you will still get the CDF. You will still get the CDF. Even if you, as an independent candidate, you've decided to go and look for some given donors or maybe financiers, they will still come and actually develop your area. So it's not a matter of you are actually to lean towards a given party for you to develop your given wards, your constituencies, and your counties. Okay,
now I understand we have Victor Lloyd, who is coming to us live from Narok. He has been touring the expansive Mau Forest, in which the government is carrying out phase 2 of the evictions there. Victor Lloyd, yesterday you reported quite a touching story of the fact that individuals who have been affected by this are going through a very harsh time, especially given even the weather conditions. Just paint for us a picture whether this has changed and what some of their sentiments are. Over to you, Victor.
Ian, I can tell you for a fact that we are literally freezing. Actually, I've just removed my jacket for the purpose of this link, but it's utterly cold here in Narok. Now, that's exactly what translates to what's happening in the upper mountains of the Mau Forest. Yesterday, we traveled up to around 150 kilometers from the main road here in Narok County, in Narok Town, up to the inner part of Mau Forest. We came face to face with so many people who are flushed out of the forest, and of course they were moving from the forest to some safer ground. But it is quite cold there now that it's the month of July, and the month of July is across board, it's spreading across the country, it's a very cold season. And we came face to face with several children who are actually affected because right now they don't have even blankets, they don't have sweaters. Most of their houses were burnt down. Actually, all of their houses were burnt down. They were flushed out of the forest. But one sad thing that we came face to face is that during the process of covering that story, we saw a lady who was almost due to give birth. We could not do anything. The medical facility is also hundreds of kilometers away, and we came face to face with that. So that exactly translates to what's happening to these people now that they have been removed from their houses and their homes, and now the situation is quite dire. Now, on the flip side, what's happening is that the county government, the county commissioner, that George Natembeya, said that the evictions will continue. They're not going to sit back and watch people still going back to the forest. This is a directive that has been taking place, which has taken place for quite a long time now, but they are so resilient that they are going to make sure that the steps that they started some times back, which saw at least over 7,000 people have been flushed so far, and over 1,700 houses and households have been torched and destroyed, and 12 hectares of land have been recovered. But George Natembeya, that is County of Narok Commissioner, says that the process is going to continue. They are not going to backtrack anymore. The next phase is going to start soon, and so anybody who is still living in the forest should move if at all they don't want their property or their structures to be destroyed. We talked to the people on the ground, and they're saying that the manner in which they were evicted somehow was not human enough, because police officers were sent there to flush them out. But to see when push comes to shove, it has to be that point. So several leaders also actually condemning the process and the process out which these people have been evicted from the forest. But they're saying that they ought to have been given an ample time or a notice for them to move. But this person saying that where are they going to go to, because that's some of the places they have been living at for the last 40, 50 here, so that is where they know. We saw some people gave us their title deeds yesterday. They said that in one instance, there's a guy who gave us his title deed, which was issued in 1997. So he says that if that title deed was given in 1997 and he's been living there, then the issue of cut line is now erupting right now, then they are affected. Because the cut line, there are two sets of cut lines, which is actually right now is under controversy. So they're now talking about which is which, the one which was issued by Hassan Noor or the one which was issued in 2014. So that is the issue that's now under contention right now. But you see, as people, they're still adamant that they are going to go back. And here at the same time, police officers and the government, and George Natembeya, who is the county commissioner of Narok, says they are going to push forward. The next phase is going to target at least 50,000 people. So our work is just to pass the message to anybody who is still living in the gazetted forest land to move out, you know, at least to salvage any little thing that they could during this process. Ian?
Okay, thank you very much. Victor Lloyd there confirming that yesterday's situation, specifically in the conditions in which those who've been evicted were in, still remains the same. Carl, we just have a few minutes to the short commercial break. I'd like us to finish on this. And the larger conversation here is perhaps the protection of not only the Mau forest, but also you know, our public land across the country. How can this be addressed?
You know, the efforts to increase our forest cover to the international standard, that is the 10%.
Mm.
I think it has been always been slowed down by the excisons, or maybe what we can call the inversions. But considering that it is not only about Mau, we need also to consider now the Mount Kenya, the Aberdares. We need to go and check about the Ngong, the Mount Elgon, you know. So all these places, these are the water towers that we need to talk about. And for us to preserve them, politics must be kept distance away from what we call the environmental conservation. Second to that, anytime, let us not always be putting the lives of innocent Kenyans at the expense of our own political scorecards, okay? If there is anything to be done, let it be done in a very clear way. My point is that let it be done in a human way. Evictions are not bad, but let it be done in a human way. These are human beings, these are voters. And these are the people that we embraced and we were praising some times back, okay? So today they cannot be, animals to us just in the name of, differences. But we cannot also fuel ethnic, tensions in the name of preserving Mau. Because you could hear the statements from both sides. It looks like this thing is now turning into something else, okay?
Okay. Sorry to interrupt you, Carl, and of course that marks our final word in regards to matters Mau Forest. Right now, I understand the Health Cabinet Secretary, Cecily Kariuki, is overseeing the launch of the Kenyatta National Hospital Strategic Plan and policies, part of a move to improve the conditions of that particular facility after it had been rocked with quite a number of scandals over the past few months. Let's listen in.
In particular, the ministry is keenly focusing on the SDGs, the African Union Agenda 2063 aspirations, and Vision 2030, which all have a direct impact on the health sector. I note with much appreciation that the hospital here has aligned with these global and regional objectives, targets, and initiatives in its 2018-2023 strategic plan, and also has included relevant priority projects under MTP3, and indeed has synchronized its interventions towards attainment of universal health coverage. It's noteworthy that we are well on course as a country towards attainment of universal health coverage. Staying a little bit with this agenda, it is my joy to note that while we have done a national readiness assessment of how prepared we are to deliver on UHC, we are also midway through with designing and costing a basic benefits package that will define UHC in this country. As I appreciate the stakeholders who have been involved and are quite enthusiastic in terms of getting the roadmap towards UHC right, I also want to appreciate this hospital, noting that you have taken cognizance of the emerging trends in the sector as you developed your strategic plan. Some of these trends, which include and are not limited to increase in uptake of traditional and alternative medicine, resistance to available medications, emerging and re-emerging diseases, upsurge of non-communicable diseases, changes in technology, high demand of specialization and subspecializations, and increased demand for emergency and critical care services. I wish to affirm that the Ministry of Health will continue to support Kenyatta National Hospital in execution of its mandate. In the recent past, the Ministry has facilitated expansion and upgrade of the renal services to match the increasing number of patients who require dialysis and kidney transplants. We have also supported the hospital through provision of Colbert radiotherapy machine, which was acquired through collaboration with the Government of India and is aimed at easing the pressure on available equipment and reduction of waiting time for cancer patients. We have also supported in the provision of imaging equipment to enhance diagnosis. And in recognition of the limited number of specialists in most parts of this country, and so as we are able to provide reporting of diagnostic and radiological services, the Ministry of Health has also embarked on linking 98 hospitals to KNH on a shared platform for laboratory information management system and picture archiving and communication system parks for laboratory and radiology, respectively, to take advantage of the available expertise in Kenyatta National Hospital. I wish to encourage Kenyatta National Hospital to adopt innovative service delivery mechanisms so as to enhance its levels of efficiency and effectiveness in service delivery. I spent a good amount of time yesterday with the chairman and the CEO, and we went through what this may look like in the future, and I'm happy to note that we are aligned as a ministry and a hospital in terms of being innovative so as to stretch the investments that are being made in this hospital. It is therefore my belief, ladies and gentlemen, that the proper implementation of this strategic plan that we unveil here today will reposition this hospital as a leading center of excellence in the provision of specialized medical care, both in this country but within the East and Central African region. This, I wish to note, will not happen without absolute dedication, commitment, and sheer hard work at all levels. A visionary leadership by the board will remain paramount. On my part, and that of my ministry, I will remain committed to give direction and to equally hold you accountable for delivering to Kenyans what you have committed in the strategic plan. But like a caring mother, I'll be there to guide as I may be required, together with my team. And as I conclude, let me thank the board, the management, the staff, for taking time to develop this worthy strategic plan, and which I have taken time to also peruse and understand in terms of direction and the key highlights. It is important for us in this sector to ensure there is seamless transition between strategic plans, and I'm convinced that in developing the current plan, a lot has been borrowed from the previous plan, so that then we have a seamless process. Let me also take this time to appreciate the team in Kenyatta National Hospital for always being on the ready and for serving Kenyans, particularly in cases of emergency, in their numbers. Recalling only recently, you are on standby and you ably supported the victims of the Gikomba fire tragedy. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, it is now my pleasure to declare the fourth KNH Strategic Plan covering the period 2018-2023 officially launched. I'm told there will be a little ceremony that we'll be dealing with immediately after this. So we may be upstanding and we can witness the little ceremony that will mark the unveiling of the plan.
The Secretary Cecily Kariuki has just overseen the launch of the Kenyatta National Hospital Strategic Plan, and we shall keep you up to speed about the key highlights. Gloria Milimu has been following. In fact, she had been covering events at the Kenyatta National Hospital since news of, for instance, rape cases and reports, and of course cases of insecurity broke. So she will tell us whether this particular strategic plan has captured the manner in which the hospital is aiming to ensure that such instances do not happen again. So we shall keep you up to speed on that. Meanwhile, we're taking a short commercial break. We'll be right back.